This is the brand new Sony 24-50 f2.8 G lens. Sony's first f2.8 full-frame zoom lens outside of the G Master lineup. From the outset, you can obviously tell this thing is tiny in comparison to its G Master bigger brothers. But the question is, can it perform about as well as a G Master lens while still being the same size and weight to some of the cheaper third-party lenses out there in the focal range? Well, let's find out. There's a lot of standard zooms out there, and there's a growing number with unique focal lengths to help slim down the size. So how do you decide whether this one is right for you? Well, the good news is I've tested just about all of them, and I wanted to give the Sony 24-50G a run for its money out in the field with the gracious help of our model Erica, to see how it compares. So let's talk about this 24-50 f2.8 G lens. And disclaimer, Sony did send me this lens to test out, but as always, they have no say in what I say and they don't get to see this video before you do. When you look at this lens, it basically looks like a shrunken down version of everything that we've come to expect from a Sony G Master lens. It's got the constant f2.8 aperture, a dedicated focus, zoom, and aperture rings, and a declicked aperture switch, making it great for video shooters. It even has the same manual focus switch and programmable focus hold buttons that we expect on the standard G Master lenses these days. The only difference is that each of these features is like a little mini version of their G Master counterpart. The small size makes it an excellent companion for the A7C II, or the A7CR, or the ZV-E1. But it also fits really nicely on something like an A1. One thing that might throw you for a loop is the lens is smallest at 50mm, and then zooming out to 24mm actually makes the barrel extend. This is the same thing that we'd expect on like a 16-35 G Master, but you typically see the opposite for standard zoom lenses. So it threw me off a bit each time I was going to take my first shot, and unexpectedly I was at 50 when I was expecting to be wide on the frame. It also does extend quite a bit, but at its smallest, it's still quite small.
That's what she said. No time!
Now, all of this size talk doesn't really matter if it performs poorly. Luckily for us, this is not the case. Honestly, I'd say it outperforms the original version of the 24-70 G Master in a number of categories, which is crazy given it's literally half the size and weight. It's got an 11-bladed aperture, so it's got that creamy, smooth bokeh and those nice round bokeh balls. This thing is also incredibly sharp, even at the corners. Like, I'm seriously impressed with how well this thing performs, and it almost makes me wonder why I paid so much more for the G Masters. I mean, look at this. This was shot on the A7C II, so only a 33 megapixel sensor, and it's so sharp that I can see myself in the reflection in Erica's eyes. Like, the G Master is better, don't get me wrong, but when we talk about the price in a minute, you'll understand where I'm coming from. As we saw with that close-up of Erica's eye, this lens also has really impressive minimum focusing distance at 19 centimeters at 24mm and 30 centimeters at 50mm. There's also a 0.33x magnification as well, so while this is by no means a macro lens, having the ability to take close-ups adds nicely to the versatility of this lens. Two performance-related downsides I noticed. First, there's a little bit of pincushion distortion when at the widest end of the focal range. When you're at 24mm, I also noticed a small but heavy vignette between f2.8 up until around f4, at which point it disappears. The good news is I'm very confident that this is very easily remedied once lens profiles are released. I tested out the Sony 24mm f2.8G prime lens profile, and it completely solved both of those issues. So likely nothing to worry about, but I do want to make sure that it was noted. On the flip side, let's talk autofocus. Even though I have the A1, I tested the autofocus on the A7C II because, let's face it, it has much more impressive AI autofocus. I also wanted to give it a bit of a challenge, so we had Erica wear this big cowboy hat to see if we could confuse it. I also had her do a little spin move to see how quickly it would be able to lock back onto her eye. And of course, bam, totally nailed it. The Sony 24-50G can also keep up with autofocusing in 4K 120 video as well. This is somewhere that some of those cheaper lenses tend to struggle, but I was super impressed with how well it was able to keep up. I tested the Tamron 20-40 and the 17-50 during this same shoot, and they were missing autofocus, sometimes significantly, even in the most mundane of scenarios. I know a lot of people are likely gonna be considering these lenses as an alternative, so if you want an in-depth comparison in a future video, let me know in the comments. And while you're down there, check to make sure that you're already subscribed. We're almost at 25K, and it'd be awesome to have you along for the ride. Okay, so this is probably a good time to start discussing where this lens sits in the Sony lens ecosystem. Like, who should buy it? The 24-50 focal range is an interesting one because on the one hand, why not just get the 24-70 since it gives you 20 extra millimeters of range on the long end? Well, for one, it's about half the size and weight of any of the 24-70 f2.8 lenses available. So if you're often traveling or hiking, or you have the A7C2, A7CR, or ZVE1, the 24-50 is gonna be hard to beat from a size and performance standpoint. Again, it performs just as well, if not maybe a little better than the original 24-70 G Master. Not to mention this lens is substantially cheaper at only $1099. Another consideration would be one of the Tamron lenses. There's the 17-50, the 20-40, and potentially the 28-75. Now, don't get me wrong, these are all fantastic lenses. I own or have used all of them pretty extensively, but I'm gonna focus on the 20-40 and 17-50 since these are a little bit more similar in terms of focal range. The 20-40 has the slight edge in terms of the size department. It's about 75 grams lighter, and it's of course wider at 20 millimeters on the long end, but being limited to 40 millimeters means it shoots more like a wide angle lens than a one and done lens. You're also missing out on the operability functions compared to the 24-50. There's no focus hold, no manual aperture, no manual focus switch, and in my mind, these are pretty core to the usability and versatility of these lenses, especially on the video side. The optical performance of the Sony is far superior to the Tamron as well. Let's compare these two images. You can tell how much sharper the Sony is when you're looking at Erica's hair, eyes, the button on her shirt. It's significant. Now, if we consider instead the 17-50, there's some trade-offs between each of these lenses as well. The Tamron is still able to reach to 50 millimeters while also getting substantially wider at 17. This of course makes it great for unique wide angle shots and landscapes, but you're also losing a stop of light and background separation with the max aperture of f4. From a size and build standpoint, the Sony is significantly smaller when at 50 mil, but then it extends to be basically the same size as the Tamron at 24 mil. The Tamron uses internal zoom, so it's always the same size throughout the focal range. However, the Tamron 17-50 is still lacking in the operability functions outside of the one programmable custom button. Plus it has some really noticeable vignetting between 17 and 20 mil that is present even when video shooting. The sharpness of the 17-50 is pretty much on par with the 20-40. So if image quality is something that's super important to you, the Sony does win there. And as I mentioned, Sony has much more reliable autofocus. Both Tamrons are priced at $699. So if you're deciding between either of these Tamrons and the 24-50, I think the main thing you'd want to consider is whether that increased investment is worth the added sharpness, operability, form factor, and the autofocus. So I guess that leaves us with the Sony 20-70 f4G lens. And this is where things get a little tricky. I love that lens, and until the release of the 24-50, I recommended that as kind of the best purchase if you could only get one lens. But now it's difficult. The 20-70 is priced at $1099, so price isn't really a comparison point like with the Tamrons. It's a bit longer and larger, but it's roughly the same weight and has all the same bells and whistles and functions and rings and buttons and such. So the only thing that you're really sacrificing at a glance is that extra stop of the f2.8 aperture. Now, I will say that under the hood, the 24-70 is also sharper and has improved bokeh that comes with that 11-bladed aperture. So it's an optically better lens. Even though I recommend the 20-70 a ton, I don't personally own one. That's because, like I know many of you out there are, I'm firmly in the f2.8 or bust camp. But I also know that there's many of you out there that feel that the G Master lenses are prohibitively expensive. If that sounds like you, or you want something that doesn't sacrifice image quality for the sake of a very small form factor, I don't think you can go wrong with this lens. I think the value is pretty spot on for what you're getting. And if you think this video was spot on, be sure to hit subscribe. I've got new videos like this every week. So until then, I left this video for you that I think you'll like next, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.